Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Garrett Sussman, the head of marketing at Grade Us. See a bunch of people already in here. I am joined again, as always excited by Sam Cantor, who is our head of product. Sam, say hi to the good folks.
Hey guys, how's it going? Long time no talk.
Yeah, how's it? Can everyone hear us okay? Is everyone having a solid holiday season as much as possible? It's I feel, Sam, it's a tricky thing to bring up, because I know that, a lot of people are planning on traveling for the holidays, but there is a lot, continues to be a lot of uncertainty with the situation, the context of the pandemic. I myself am just staying in the area. Do you have any plans for the holiday?
Just trying to ski as much as possible, and my in-laws live about 5 minutes down the road, so they're kind of our our little bubble mates, and we just hang out with family basically all the time now, which is good and bad.
Yeah, that's a pot thing. David says that wow, David got 23 inches of snow in Calgary overnight. David, are you a skier? Can Sam come and can stay over at your place? So we'll let some more people trickle in. He says, "Yep." Let everyone trickle in. We're really excited today to showcase something that Sam has been working on with the engineering and the development team for a while now, and we're getting close, and I think it's going to be massively valuable to small business customers, enterprise customers, but specifically our agency customers. I think we're going to talk through exactly what this reporting overhaul looks like, what will be coming down the road, that you can get excited about, start thinking about how you would communicate that with your clients. And then at the end, as always, want to provide everyone with the opportunity to ask any questions, talk with us about what you're doing in the reputation space, what's important to you, what's important to your clients. Just want to give another shout out. Last month, we held our office hours on the integrations rollout, which is now available for everybody to try. Big woo to Sam and the team there. We're excited about it. Sam, like, you got it out. How are you feeling about integrations at this point?
Oh, I love it. I think, we talked about this last time, but it's the most clicked button on our website is the add a recipient button, and you don't need to click it. I mean, just the idea that you can add those recipients automatically. Um, we've just like seen over and over like tons and tons of data that like if you're an agency and you struggle with proof or churn of your clients, like integrations is like a huge help. It makes people way more willing to pay you guys. It makes people way less likely to churn. It's just like a big win for the platform, and we're excited to get it out, and it's only going to get better. So yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's working so smoothly. I keep playing, like, attaching, detaching, like making sure everything is running smooth.
I
Like
know,
the
I know.
QA has
I'm
been great.
watching you. I see you in the data.
It's so cool. It's really easy though. I remember you were saying that you had a call. A greatest customer said she was interested. You were excited to kind of like talk through it with her, and she already had it set up before, you even had anything to like check in with. So,
Yeah.
Salesforce, Mailchimp, good to go. Next up, you've got a few that are coming over the next like few weeks.
Yep. So hopefully Santa will deliver QuickBooks Online, Constant Contact, and HubSpot as the next three. We just like went off what was requested the most by everyone on the platform. Um, and we want to add more. So we want to hear from everyone like, is there a CRM or is there an email client that you and your customers use the most? And can we add it? And all that good stuff. We want this to be kind of a really collaborative thing with you guys. So we know Active Campaign and Infusionsoft are also very popular. And so as we get more people using it, we'll get better and quicker at adding them. And yeah, we're excited. It should be a good one.
Yeah, and to Sam's point, I mean, especially for agencies, it's such a sticky feature because we know the grade us is the most effective when you're actually doing review requests. So,
Nice.
when you're, a lot of folks they do want to just, either put the button on their website or use a signature snippet and just have it almost like a passive way to get reviews. But when you are actively requesting reviews via email or text, then you're significantly more likely to get the 5-star positive reviews, and that is what clients ultimately are looking for. That's how you show value right out of the bat. So when you connect the automation integrations to send out the review request to trigger it every time someone's added to your Salesforce, every time someone's added to your MailChimp list, then you are just setting yourself up for success for offering your reputation management services. And then the other great thing with it is it saves time, so you can focus on the strategic aspect of reputation management, which really does take a little more kind of critical thinking, whether it's how you're responding to positive, negative reviews, where you're prioritizing getting your reviews, on which, either Google, third-party review sites, BBB, whatever's important to your clients, and then ultimately focusing on some of your other, service offerings, whether that's just local SEO, creating new content, any sort of advertising campaigns, social media marketing. So Andres, yeah, we're excited about it. HubSpot's coming soon. Active campaign will be a little bit further down the line. And for any of you that, one thing that we realize as well, and we highly recommend, is if you don't know what CRMs your clients are using, it's a great communication opportunity to touch base with them and understand how their business works. And there are opportunities there for you to either find out what their CRM is connected to grade us, or find out their CRM for other ways that you can market your services, whether that's email marketing, like understanding what their automation opportunities are, their campaign journeys. Anyway, that's what we kind of have gotten over the last month. But today, a lot of you are here to talk about reporting. So at this point, Sam is going to share his screen and show you what the team has been working on, what he's been working on, and then we'll be able to, talk about the value prop and answer any questions at the end.
Cool. And Garrett,
Yep.
do I have control here?
Yes.
On the screen.
Should be able here. Let me give you control. Okay, I'll share my screen for a moment, and then we'll do sharing, and then we will hand it over to you. Okay.
Beautiful. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, we are
Everyone's
good.
cool. Okay. So I made a prototype for you guys of the designs that we're working on, that are in production and kind of will be cranked on over the holiday break. Um, and I want to kind of run you guys through some of the strategy that Garrett and I went through. So Garrett and I kind of pounded the pavement on this one, worked really hard and talked to a lot of people about kind of like how we can update the greatest reporting such that it helps you guys the most, solves your guys' pain points of this. The big thing that we wanted to go through was like there's 4 areas I think that came up the most when we did our interviews with people, and then we looked at Zendesk. We looked at all the support tickets that came in from people asking questions about our reporting area. There was like some hot areas that we needed to address, and we think our new designs kind of cover these areas for you guys the most. The big one, this probably won't be a surprise to anyone, is like filtering and grouping. So the ability to feature or to filter the work that you're looking at, all the different reporting metrics, the ratings and the number of reviews you have, being able to filter those, like if I wanted to see like who left a 5-star Google review, where they came from, things like that. You're currently not able to do that. grouping. If I wanted to look at specific profiles over and over again, and really easy to group them together and compare them and see how they're doing, people really wanted that feature. And then just a simple one is just like being able to like choose the date period at which you're looking at really easy without having to type anything in. So being able to see kind of like the last week, last month, instead of having to type in specific dates. Campaign and funnel metrics. So the campaign and funnel metrics area were really confusing to a lot of people. They didn't know if they were looking at third-party ratings or their ratings from their funnel. They didn't know if this email was reaching the right person, if they clicked on anything. It was, the entire area was incredibly confusing. And we just like had to kind of like really rethink this entire how we showcase this data and how we split this data up for you guys that made it a lot easier to understand. Almost everyone wanted the online and generated or scheduled reports to be more accurate. It's like not to be a bit more similar in terms of the data that they're showing and the components that they're showing. So right now they're very different, and so we really try to tackle the online reporting first because a lot of you guys have scheduled reports that go out to your customers. If we feel like we've nailed the online reporting, we can roll that new online reporting out to those scheduled and generated reports as well. And finally, like another big one was like that came up a lot was like proof and trends, right? So like how much has this thing helped? How much has Grade Us or whatever our white label is called helped me since I've started? And over my time period, like since last month, am I trending in the right direction? Show me some trend lines and like how this thing is working on a more granular level. And so Garrett and I kind of like took all that feedback, looked at all the components that we had, and started redesigning all these pieces. I know that some of you guys have seen some of this stuff, but as we're working through it, we'd love to show you guys where we're at and kind of talk about some of the decisions that we made along the way. So the first thing you'll see, so this would be the new reporting page, and obviously you've seen some work already go out in this area, but I'll zoom in here. So one of the first things you'll see when you hit the new reporting page is that we split the online reporting in half. And so you'll have your profile overview, which will handle, I keep looking over here because that's where I can see the camera, but I think the camera's here. So I'm just looking down for no reason, like a weirdo. I'm gonna face forward. I'm gonna look at the camera. So
I appreciate the self-awareness though. It's great. It's like you catch yourself. You're trying to do that performance factor, and yet we've got you.
It's like I'm just blowing it. But I'll just put the camera. So maybe this will help me. So yes, so profile overview versus campaigns and funnel. Huge confusion area for our users, especially our new users. You guys who are here on the webinar probably already understand this, but on your funnel ratings and the feedback you get from there is completely separate from your third-party reviews. So we split this area to make that clearer. So third-party reviews, what's Google, what's Yelp, what are those reviews and ratings, what are people saying there? Split from your campaigns, so the emails that are going out, the texts that are going out, the people who are leaving the ratings, and the feedback on the funnel in a different area. What this also allowed us to do was create filters. And so since this is different sets of information that looks very similar, we can, now that we've split this, we can have really cool filtering. And we didn't have to split it to do this, but we just gave you guys a quick pick drop-down menu, so you can choose the date range with which you're comparing information from. And we'll get into the filters in the drop-down menu in a second. When we go down, let's look at kind of the main components here inside the top area. So probably no surprises here. The first thing we wanted to show you guys was your trending, how much you're trending on your reviews and your ratings on all of your third-party reviews. And so we see here our number of reviews within the time period and our rating total within the time period. And you can see both of them split by these bar graphs and the line graph there. So you can see your trends over time, and then hover and click on any of these points, to get the exact number from there. Another cool thing we really wanted to make sure we did was add like the proof aspect of it for you guys wherever we could, or the trending aspect wherever we could, right? So we also here, irregardless of what your time period is chosen, we want to give you guys your all-time totals. So what are you at across all of your third-party listings that you have attached to this profile or the profiles you've chosen to review? And so you have that data here. And this is especially neat because now we'll show you, and this will be white labelable, is like from when you started on Grade Us or whatever your white label is called, what was your rating and what was your review total? And so you can see like right here, right at the top there, like this person has had a net gain of 159 reviews for this location. And so we want to make it really easy for you guys just to showcase how that growth of your accounts.
Andres is freaking out. He's so excited. This looks like so good.
Oh, really?
And,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and to Sam's point, I think it's really important, especially when you are, a reseller. So maybe you're giving your clients access to look at this on their own, and they'll be able to see, when they log in as your branded review management tool, what you were just showing, but like the before, whatever the white label is called, that's a big thing. Is just proving that the tool works, that your investment in Grade Us or your investment or their investment in this white label tool is delivering the value that they expect.
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge thing. Um, so we have your rating distribution here, right? Where we normalize all the ratings across all the different third-party reviews and show you the quantities there. On the left, the rating distribution. And on the right, we have your top review sites where we dig a little bit deeper. So we split that out into all of your different listings, and then we show your rating total, and then the quantity reviews. The big thing for Garrett and I, right, is always these trend lines. So are we trending up or are we trending down versus the previous time period? So if I chose 6 months, this will be my rating within the 6 months. But if this is lower than what it was in the 6 months prior, then I'm going to have this down trend line. Or if it's higher, hopefully it's always higher, right? I'll be up one. You're never going to really have less reviews, I would say. Like I can't really, unless you're deleting less. I don't know how that would happen, but for the most part, you'll either be like stagnant in the number of reviews you have, or you're going to be going up. And so we just want to make sure that we kind of call that out so that your users can see, your clients can see, hey, like we're positive, we're moving in the right direction, like really easily instead of having to compare like previous reports.
And Mike wants to know, as we're going down this, so if they're not using the internal review feature, just like third-party reviews, so they're not collecting like just a direct review, first review, can you hide this section from the report? So to clarify, Mike, are you saying that definitively that it is only third party? Right now, what Sam has is an aggregate. So the top review sites will. Are you saying that you don't want that, or that you're like whether it includes the first party as well? If you can clarify, we can follow up. And then Melissa wants to know: is the review number the new reviews or total reviews per platform?
So everything on here, yeah, it's a great question. So everything on here will be based on the time period you set. So these will be your number of reviews within that time period. And then you can always go up here, change the time period you're looking at. And so you'll easily be able to say, I want to look at all time. And so you can change it to that and then see kind of like what your all time numbers are here.
And Mike did say, yes, they just request third-party reviews. It's never like a direct first-party, not on a review site. So if I understand that correctly, Mike, then basically this would just cover all the third-party reviews. I don't know if there's anything you'd want to remove in that capacity, unless, to what extent is the plan for any of this to be customizable, Sam? Right now it is as it is, right?
Yeah, it is as it is right now, but I would love to talk to Mike more about kind of like how we can make it work for him. And you can always, for the online version, it kind of how it currently is, it is, we don't have that. But for your scheduled version, you'll be able to toggle any of these on or off that you send to your client. So that schedulable email that they get with the PDF or online version, you can make sure to hide or show any of these things that you want to.
And Andres just quickly asked if we also updated the prospect reporting, which we actually haven't in this current sprint. But Sam, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so the engine, if you will, that powers a lot of this reporting was big and kind of complicated to kind of rework and make sure it's really performant. And that is the same thing that will power the new prospect reports. And so all of our work here makes us kind of like applying the same treatment, fixing pain points, making it faster. All that stuff will apply to the prospect reports in the next quarter. So that's something that we're super excited about.
And Andres, I mean, Sam, I've been in Sam's ear about this for like months. I'm like so excited about the prospect report. So with you.
Yeah. So for all of our agencies out there, profile comparison. So when we add this new filtering and grouping functionality, you'll be able to take certain profiles, add them to your filters or groups, and then you'll have a profile comparison component that shows up here, where you can see a table of how your different profiles are performing across all these different metrics. If you have NPS, this will show up. If you don't, it won't show up. But it'll show you your view requests sent, the number of reviews you've gotten, your total reviews, so that all-time total that we were talking about earlier, and then your rating number and any trend lines, so anything that has been like trending up or down versus the previous time period. You can also download this table. And so if you need to do any sort of like graphing or mapping or comparisons beyond this table that we're not doing for you, you can have all this information readily available. This is a great way for you guys just to be able to see like, hey, I have a group of this, I run 5 Taco Bells in Georgia, and I want to see how they're comparing with the ones in Arizona. You can have those groups up together and see like, hey, the ones in Georgia have less review requests and the ratings are lower, so you can see kind of like, as if you're an agency, kind of like who's being the most performant and why. And finally, we have sentiment analysis. So one of the things we really want to do is make sure that like if we have sentiment analysis, so positive or negative sentiment on words or phrases, we wanted to give you guys the ability to not just see those, which we currently do, but also to be able to click through. And so we're going to have to change this chart, but in a cool way, to being a tree map, so that it shows you the most used words in your positive and negative review sentiments. You'll be able to click through on these and then actually have that filter show all the reviews that have the word beef in it, or all your negative reviews that we've brought into the system that we're monitoring that have the word tacos in it. And so this will give you a lot more functionality, a lot more depth, so that you can actually see what reviews are making up this sentiment. And this is just like kind of some great like added benefit and depth for your clients. I don't know what happened to the word here, but yeah. So this will be kind of your overall like third party review comparisons. And if there's any questions, I can answer them. But we can also go into the kind of the campaigns and funnel area.
This is great. Everyone is into it. Just one other takeaway from the trees, like the sentiment analysis, which I love, is it really just makes it that much easier for if you're doing any marketing or advertising for your clients, and there's like a product like their beef, whatever, is getting all of these positive reviews, or the dinosaur is, then you can click into that, see those reviews. And what we learn with review content is it's a great source for pulling copy for your website, for your ads. So when people say, where's the beef? I mean, there's the beef. There's the
I'm
beef.
so sorry I didn't change these words. Sorry, sometimes.
The beef tart, the Lorem beef tart is fantastic. You should absolutely be writing on your website about the Lorem beef tart, but don't write about the Tyrannosaurus burritos because people are not fans of
It's
the
silly because like when you're making this stuff, you don't want to think about what these actually say. So I'm just like whatever. It's like free association writing. I'm just like, and I don't know what is wrong with me. How do I
exactly.
get the dinosaur?
No, it's amazing. It's fun. Okay.
So okay, we're gonna switch over to the campaigns and funnel area, right? So this is all we combined everything about you sending out review requests, and whenever a user lands on your funnel and kind of what they do there. And we try to boil this down to the most important information needed. And if we didn't boil it down, we wanted to give you guys a spreadsheet that would allow you to do any other digging that you would want to do and make it super clear. And so this first component here is kind of Garrett's brainchild, but it's basically like the three things we look at when we look at like really healthy profiles on Grade Us, right? Which is how many campaigns are you sending out? How many emails or texts are you sending out? Review requests are you sending out? How many click-throughs are you getting? So are people going to your funnel and clicking through on an actual review site? And then how many positive external reviews are you getting as it relates to that? And the healthiest profiles on Gradus that use this reputation management system will see this like really beautiful like cascading effect off of these three metrics, right? We want to see you have tons of review requests going out. We want to see people actually engaging with it. And then we want to see those positive external reviews coming in. We have no control, again, about we can't like report directly from Google or Facebook or any of these other third-party places, but we can monitor them, right? And we can show you guys like, is this trend line what we expect? Are we getting this nice cascading shape where we see that we have positive external reviews that relate to the number of campaigns that are sending out? And this is a big one in terms of like proof and that Gradus is working and that we're sending out the appropriate amount of campaigns, because we all know that like if our clients aren't sending out campaigns or review requests, then like they're not getting the full functionality, and Gradus isn't going to work as good for them. It's going to be harder to retain them. They're higher churn risks. So this is a super valuable chart for any of those things. And I guess of course you can toggle these on or off to compare these on their own or together.
And we'll address that shortly, Scott. But Scott does bring up the point, which we've discussed a little, Sam, is the idea of in the case study, one of our customers saying that he looked at the first, second, and third of an email campaign to see which
Yeah.
one was driving the most. And Scott says he would love to see that reportable and also report reviews posted and or funnel activity of SMS versus email.
Yeah, that's a great call out. Yeah, so Garrett and I are hot to get that component added in here.
Yeah.
I think that'll be like one of the first things we add once we get through kind of these basic things. It will require us to add some kind of like functionality in terms of how we're tracking the data, or like really like clean it up and make sure we're reporting like only accurate data to you guys to the best of our ability. And so, but yeah, that is an awesome call out and something that we're really excited to get to work on.
Yeah,
Um,
that does speak, Scott, to the proof aspect and being able to show to your clients. So complexity there. But for iteration one, I mean, all this is where we're at. Real quick to Andres, just want to point out there's the ability to extend the SMS campaigns beyond 7 days. I don't think
yes.
it's capable of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then inside your funnel, right? What are people clicking on? So currently the only way to showcase this to you guys, and we kind of, the other things didn't normalize, we want to give you guys the ability to showcase any rating type that you guys have within the funnel. If you guys use stars, which over 50% of the users on Gradus do, we'll show you the stars. But if you use thumbs up, if you use hearts, if you use smiley faces, we'll show a pie chart here that has only that. So you guys can see what your actual rating distribution is. A lot of people say that not a lot of people, but I've heard a few times that that thumbs up, thumbs down is actually gets better engagement. And so if that's what you use, great. We'll report on it here, and I'll show you guys an example of a different type of funnel layout in a second. If then if someone leaves you, so this is kind of like our segmentation, right? If someone leaves you, you know, a 5 or 4 star, whatever your segmentation rules are, we'll track what review site they click through on. So did they go to Google, Facebook, Yelp? So if you have these high quality ratings coming in, then you should be seeing more here. If the person submitted feedback, then we'll show you the quantity here, and you'll be able to click through on this number and then go to the reviews area and see the submitted feedback. And finally, the equalizer, right? So there's so much information we can show you guys here. I think, you know, SMS versus email, and campaign metrics. Um, as we work through like building out some of those other like more requesting components, the thing that we really wanted to do was give you an accurate readout of who you sent a campaign to, what was the type of campaign you sent, was it email or text, kind of like the time period with which you sent it. So this is 90, this should be a timestamp, sorry about that. Did they click the link? If so, did they leave a rating? If so, did they go, what action did they take? Did they leave you a review? Did they leave you feedback, or did they click on the link? And so this will be a downloadable CSV for you guys, so you can download this, know exactly who's clicking on what. We can do comparisons of text versus email. We can see, you know, who has actually visited the funnel versus not. This should give you a really good sense of like how your funnel is performing, and give you guys the ability to, if you need to dig in somewhere and find some person, you have one table that can show you a ton of this information.
That's cool. So Scott, to your point, it's like this is a lot of the data here is here for what you ultimately want to show. We just in iteration 2 will hopefully be able to visualize that more effectively, you know, so you don't
Yeah,
have to do it yourself. Yeah.
So let's say I don't have a star rating, right, on my funnel. Let's say I use NPS. And so NPS isn't the most used funnel metric, but it is growing, and two of our biggest clients use NPS, right? So when we click through, we're gonna have a different campaign. I click through on that just to show you guys that like if I had a different funnel set up for NPS, it would look something like this. So I have the same first component, and then I would actually have an NPS score graph, so my NPS tracked over time, and then my rating distribution of promoters, passives, and detractors. And so you have a pie chart here, and then you'll have the same kind of review site chosen, you know, feedback, and then the campaign and funnel activity. But a big request was, can we make sure that this area is specific to whatever funnel type I have? And so we really tried to make sure that, that was accurate. We really tried to make sure our friends that are using NPS are covered. Not everyone uses NPS, not the biggest thing on Grade S, but we just want to make sure we covered. If we have a funnel for it, there should be specific funnel metrics for it, so you guys can see that without any normalization, so you can report more effectively to your customers. Cool.
That's cool. That's cool. And Scott says the data is really helpful. Yeah, I know. I hope y'all are geeking out over this. I mean, it's hard to tell when it's an interactive virtual event, but like maybe I'm way too excited about reporting stuff. I'm just like, this is cool.
So I just toggled on our filters. And so these will be kind of the first 3 filters that show up here, right? We want to give you guys the ability to filter by profiles that you have, filter by the site, so the review site, Google, Yelp, what have you, and then the ratings that site has. Again, this is important to remember why we switched over from here, because your ratings, if in your campaign or funnel, could be hearts, and that way we have to change what this rating dropdown is. So that's another reason why we split these things out. So really quickly, so your filters, right? A big filter, the one that probably gets used the most, is actually your date and time. So before we had to have you guys fill in a specific time and key that in, we're going to give you guys the ability to just have a quick pick. So you can choose in the last 7 days or since joining, last 180 days. If you need that custom range, of course, we'll still have that there for you so you can add it. But we don't want the only thing you have to put in as a custom range every single time. So you'll be able to choose the time period with which you want to look at and focus on all this data.
I
Next.
think that's really important too, just because it's like for all of us who know reputation management, the freshness of the review really matters. So when you're doing this for your clients, you can talk to them about, hey, you haven't gotten a lot of reviews in the last 7 days, or you haven't gotten a lot of reviews in the last 30 days, which might be more important for, you can ultimately kind of connect that to their sales, right? So if you're able to say, okay, we've seen, you've had a ton of reviews over the last 30 days and your sales have gone up, that's ultimately going to be a huge value to show when you're showing the value of online reviews. So, and then the since joining goes back to, for those of you who are just saying, since using Grade Us or since using our white label software, this is the value that you're seeing. So sorry, proceed.
Yeah, no, that's a good call out. So here, so I clicked on the profiles area, right? And this will let you look at all of your different profiles. And if you wanted to see your all-time ratings and reviews for 2 different profiles at the same time, you can now do that, which is really exciting. And if there's 2 profiles that you look at and compare the most, then you'll be able to create a group. So I'll just create a group really quickly here. Let me name my group Carol Baskin. And so now I have a 4th filter dropdown, which will always show up for you now. And you can have groups of profiles that you compare instantly. And so you don't have to kind of like choose which profiles you want to see over and over again. You can have all of your groups in one area. So let's say you have a state that you cover as a multi-location more than any other. You'll have that there. You'll be able to choose these, toggle these on or off. And at any point, any filters you have, you'll be able to clear whatever filtering you're doing.
Very cool, Scott. That was a perfect moment too, because Scott was asking. He's like, "Can you group multi-locations into a global metric instead of each property separate?" And that's exactly what you just showed. So perfect there. Bronson then did ask if there's any plans to have reporting integrated with Google Data Studio.
So yeah, so that's a great question. So what a lot of this does, right? So all these exports, like my ultimately like Garrett and I will do our best to handle like every review, every request you guys have, right? But there's always gonna be stuff you're gonna need to show your client. And so what I'm doing is basically building this such that I have an easy way to export these things for you guys for like Google Data Studio or some other um, data visualizer tool out there. And so this is one step in that direction. We're not ready yet. We need to build those like API endpoints, but absolutely, like that's kind of like our eyes are on that prize, right? We want to give you guys like the absolutely most requested things, and then make it easy for you guys to dig in on any of these other things that you want.
Right. So in the meantime, I guess, Bronson, the best course of action would be, just having a cadence where you would, download it and then upload it to Google Sheets and then tie that as your source for Google Data Studio. And just have that on a weekly cadence or monthly, whatever you works. But Bronson sounds like he's excited for that going forward.
Cool.
Melissa says that currently when downloading the CSV file on the parent profile, including all the child profiles, it isn't easy to identify which third-party review is connected to which child profile. Will there be a column added profile name to be able to easily sort when exporting?
Yep. Yeah, that'll be basically the whole export for you guys. So you'll know kind of exactly like who, what profiles is for, and then like what's all my relevant data for it.
Cool. Perfect.
And then really quickly, just your site. I mean, this is kind of self-explanatory, right? I want to filter by Google, and I want to see whoever left me a 2-star review on Google within the last month, right? You can do that now and then click through on your reviews and then your ratings. So, we're in the third party area right now, but like whatever you can edit this down to whatever you want to see, 5-star through 1-star. And I think this is it. So yeah, so this is kind of a lot of the work that we're doing right now. We're setting all this stuff up for you guys, and really excited to share this with you and like have you guys work with it, see where we can make it better, and then we'll slowly start bringing this over to the online and generate reports. And then once we do that, we're kind of off to the races, and we can fix up the prospect reports and these other areas that we do a lot of this reporting, the kind of like the global metrics you guys have now in the manage area. So all of it hinges on us doing this really well, and I think we're off to a really good start. And I'm really appreciate you guys' feedback too. If there's anything else you guys can see that we're missing or that we need, like please let us know, and we'll probably do some sort of beta testing on this in the future. So if anyone wants to be kind of a beta user of these features, just holler at Garrett or I.
Yeah, so absolutely, and this was so awesome, Sam, and it's been such a fun process. There are a lot of ideas, but the nature. It's funny always talking with Sam when it comes to product road mapping. The nature of it is like, what's your wish list, and then what is the must-haves, and then what's like that first iteration. And it's really cool when the first iteration checks off, so many of the must-have boxes. But to your point, there's so much opportunity for innovation. That's one thing, is like with these projects, we don't want to just be, what's out there. We want to be better. So a lot of that comes from all of you who are, either working on your own businesses or working with clients, and have a good sense of what you want to, show to them. Whether, Scott's, it's the global metrics across groups, or Bronson's being able to integrate with Data Studio, being able to incorporate other, types of metrics that might be important to you for your clients. We want to know that. If it's like showing competitor data, we want to know that. So the best way to reach Sam is sam@grade.us, or you can reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at grade.us. I'm always, happy to talk through any of this. My big thing with the prospect reports is I think there's a ton of opportunity there when you're selling to customers, and being able to show them, hey, here's your review portfolio. Like right now, the one that you've always seen has Google, it has some directory sites. There's a lot of opportunity there for us to improve that. So right now, if you have any ideas specifically, it could be, a home run type of idea, a dream ideal state. It could be just like your bare necessities of what would help you to bring on more prospects. We want to know.
Bring us
So
your
we really,
idea. We want to
exactly.
build something you guys love.
Yeah, it's like if you build it, your customers will be happy. I don't know. That doesn't work for the Kevin Costner movie, but that's what they should have called it. But Scott says, so this looks really good. Nice improvement. Reports are the key to client retention and case studies for client acquisition. Thanks. Okay, so is there an ETA when this will be rolled out? Ballpark.
So we're working over the holidays on this one because our developers are amazing and crazy. Our lead dev kind of told me yesterday that this should be out early January. So I think what that usually means is that we'll have something to look at by end of January because they're, ambitious and crazy, and Garrett and I will get it and be like, there's too many bugs and that's for the users. But, we're next month. I mean, we're kind of in the home stretch. A lot of the work that we had, like a lot of the work that we had to do was really on the back end. So we've been doing that over the last 6 months. I know you guys have seen the change log. We're changing data in the reporting area, and that's why it just took a lot. This was a huge infrastructure project at the end of the day. So kind of overhauling that, and hopefully we set up a good foundation to kind of cover a lot of areas that have reporting in it, and iterate quicker.
Yeah, Michael, I appreciates the change. He says, and he appreciates the change logs as well. That's one of Sam's babies, is making sure that you all know when we are making subtle and bigger updates to the platform. But as you can see, there's a lot of changes starting to happen with Grade Us. It's really exciting. I've been with the company now for 4 years, and since Sam has come on, we're getting to that point of once these infrastructure changes are made, then a lot of faster iterations can happen, which I think ultimately will benefit you and just increase the value of the product. Continue to communicate with us if you want to see any changes. I'm also starting to think more and more about reseller resources that I can create for you in terms of white label resources. One thing that I'm going to be working on in Q1 is just some forms for what we were talking about earlier, finding out about the CRMs from your customers, from your clients, so you can set up integrations, make that onboarding process that much more easy. Sam, you mentioned the funnel and that you wanted to demo. Do you want to talk anything about the funnel Q1 plans, or hold off?
I do. One of the most requested things, the big targets we have for Q1 on GradeS are prospect reports. Well, finishing out this work we just showed you, right? Making sure that it works well, the online generated, which will lead us into prospect reports and cleaning that whole area up. And the other big one, beyond some infrastructure stuff, is the funnel. And the funnel is an interesting one because you guys have all, if you're here in the webinar, chances are you've gone through the funnel and understand it. But if you can remember when you first started, probably really wasn't that easy to navigate that area. And we see a lot of our newest users getting horribly stuck in that area and not understanding it. It's in dire need of kind of a refactor. And I would say one of the biggest requests actually from our agency folks is like having the ability to be able to customize that thing easier without having to use code, right? So I just want to change the background color. I just want to change the font we're using, or have some minor CSS things without having to like be a developer. And so I'm really interested in hearing about that too right now, where I can help you guys set that up easier and have that for our huge agencies, have that be able to be replicated across multiple clients in a lot more consistent way. So that is another big thing that like Garrett and I are kind of like noodling on over the break on how we make that better for you guys. Is fixing that area brings down a lot of barriers we have for other parts of the platform.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
that was a
I mean,
rant.
no. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on the horizon. I mean, it's that balance of biting off what you can chew, but ultimately adding these features that are going to bring value, to our existing customer base, specifically our agency audience, who also has it's a very unique type of software that we have, where it's like where a lot of our customers are agencies. So we're not only thinking about you, but we're also thinking about your clients, and then we're also thinking about the end user who ultimately is the customer of your clients. And so, making sure that the product kind of appeals and works really effectively for all of those different levels is a fun challenge that Sam's taken on. And so it's been great to be a part of these new initiatives that are coming out. Keep your eyes peeled on the blog. We're creating a lot of content, and then as always on the podcast for Traject, one that I'd love for all of you to check out that I think is super relevant that we had earlier in the week was, I just shared the link, is with Amanda Jordan, who is this awesome local SEO director for a locomotive agency, and she and I talked a lot about continuing the COVID related discussions. One thing that I thought was really interesting in the podcast is we talked about, as the vaccine rolls out in the US and across the world over the next few months, what is that going to mean for local SEO and your clients? Like right now, Google doesn't have necessarily any attributes that highlight, employees vaccinated, but like thinking about your messaging and how you can help your clients communicate safety and hygiene for the businesses to improve their traffic and being able to open up and have more customers. So check out that podcast episode. Any other questions? Because I think, Sam, we're pretty much we've gotten through all of the great stuff that you had to share with everybody, right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, but if you have any thoughts on how to make prospect reports better, how to make what we just showed you better, how to make the funnel better, those are kind of like what we're setting our sights on right now. And is there anything else I can tell you guys that would make you excited? We are doing a huge infrastructure overhaul in Q1 as well, where that will set us up to make the review request area so much faster, so much better. And so hopefully in Q2, we'll get to kind of tackle a lot of the review requests, the campaign things, adding in some virtualization that Garrett and I love on like having campaigns separated from the contacts you upload. So that's kind of like what we're doing. A lot of big stuff. So, but yeah, any ideas you guys have? I mean, please tell us. Like, we want to make stuff that works and that you guys love and are delighted by. So that is our goal.
Yeah, I mean, not that we're depending on you for ideas, but your ideas matter. Because it's like we have some ideas as well. Like when we're thinking about prospect reports, we would love to know, which review sites do you want on the prospect reports? Do you want it to be almost prescriptive in some capacity? Like in the ones that we currently have, it's like, oh, you only have a certain amount of reviews on this site, or only you have a star rating that's below this level. If you talk to clients and that sort of those elements resonate with them, like having a score that is generated based on the prospect reports, if that's important, or how you have that conversation with clients, any of those insights will help us to build those, so to make those conversations more easier and more effective when you're trying to close them, because that's the whole point of it. So thank you everybody so much for joining us today. Thanks, Melissa. Thank you for your questions. We hope this is helpful. Thanks, Sam, for showcasing everything. Our next office hours won't actually be, it's my pleasure. I love this stuff, but won't be until the end of January. So if you have, anything before then, we haven't decided on exactly what we'll be covering then. But if you have any ideas on what you want to see in an office hours, definitely let me know. Last thing Scott said is I'd love to see a zap when Grados detects a new review so that it can write back somewhere, Google Sheets, CRM, etc. That might be available, Scott, through Zapier. I don't know if we have that endpoint or not, but I think if we don't, that's a really good idea. Happy holidays to all of you. Yeah. Because I remember, it's funny. I actually remember the reason I think we might even have had that, Scott, was like, I remember there's some service out there that writes handwritten notes to people. And there was like this idea around like, if you get a review notification, you could like connect it to that app that would then send a handwritten note to that customer if you had that information, which sounded insanely creative to me. But yeah, that's another thing that we would love to know, Scott, is just any specific endpoints that we could add either to the API or to Zapier to our Zapier integration to improve those. So everyone have a great holiday season. Be safe, enjoy your time, and we will see you in January in 2021. Thank goodness, right?
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.